Hello, it's your host Haneen.
And your host, Zoya,
Welcome to episode 2 of our podcast.
with a very special VIP guest.
Hi, I'm Mustafa. I'm a fourth year medical student, also the year representative of fourth year.
Ooh.
Oh, yay! Yeah.
So, Mustafa, the first question that we always ask our guests is how did you find the university and why did you choose it?
I actually found the university from my sisters because my sisters were here before I was. They graduated from the university, and throughout my high school course, I had many options, but I decided on Debrecen because it's much easier to go through the university life when you have experience from your sisters. Don't do the mistakes they did, don't do the mistakes they usually did, etc. And it's been working, it's been helpful. I don't take their advice, but it's still helpful nonetheless.
Do you think you have learned from their mistakes?
Definitely the first 2 years, lots of mistakes has been done from my sister's end. So I think I can say that I was the least, like for my mom at least. My mom was the least worried about me because she's like, whatever. I've been through 2 siblings for that. Nothing can scare me anymore. I'm just like, okay, good to know. Thanks, mom. Yeah,
That's sweet.
Yeah, I think that's really nice.
thank you.
Do you think your sisters had a good experience in Debrecen? Do you think you had a different experience from them?
I think we have similar experiences actually. We both don't see the city slash the university as a bad choice.
Yeah.
We don't see it as a great choice, but we see it as a relatively smart decision from
Like
all
a
of
good
us.
opportunity.
Yeah, exactly. We think that the university does teach us really well. It might lack a few things here and there, but not every university is perfect.
Yeah.
And at the end, we, like, at least my sisters, speaking on behalf of my sisters, they came out as great doctors. So I'm very proud of them, mashallah.
Mashallah,
Yeah.
shout out to Mustafa's sisters.
Yeah.
And they graduated when you were in first year?
When I was in second year, they both graduated. When I first came here, first year, my eldest sister was in sixth year, and my other older sister was in fifth year. So it was very, very cute having my sisters together with me in the university.
Yeah. Do you feel like university has been easier for you because you know the stakes better than most people do?
Definitely agreed. Going back to the first 2 years, it was very easy for me because I knew what was coming.
Yeah.
I was very much involved in my sister's first 2 years because the most stressful 2 years of university. But then it just went downhill from there because people just kept saying, "Oh, after third year, you'll have everything figured out." But I'm just like, I'm in fourth year and I don't have anything figured out.
I'm in fourth year.
Very relatable.
Yeah.
I'm in fourth year and I'm just figuring things out.
Yeah.
And that actually brings us to our second question. What is, for you, because we asked this to everybody, what's it like being in fourth year? What's it like being in your year?
I don't know. Fourth year is a very weird year till to up to date. It was a very weird vibe around it. Yeah, it's a very
feels
weird
like
transition.
You went into a totally different uni, a different realm.
I agree. It's like I see my fellow peers in third year and I look back on my year and I'm just like, that's just 2 completely different vibes. Fourth year is so much chill, but at the same time, the material is so hard to get hands on.
Oh my god.
There's so many subjects in a semester, like at least 10 subjects, which are relatively, they're short and small, but still a lot.
No SCTs or anything. Everything's up to you.
Exactly.
It's up. Figure it out.
You have
and
to
this
get your
lack of any motivation is actually very stressing.
Agreed. Especially with not right now. It's Ramadan. It's like, where can I find the motivation to fast and study at the same time? It's really, really hard.
Yeah.
But I think I struggled the most in fourth year exam period than I ever did in first, second, and third. Just because the first 3 years you had 3 major subjects in which you can exempt at least one of them. So I always went into exam period with at least 2 major subjects I can get done in 4 weeks. And, the material was set. You knew exactly where to study from. There was not many like practicals or like patient interactions, which was nice. But now that we got into the clinicals, it's very hard to capture all of this and then put it into an oral exam. And on top of that, the material is very hard to get a hands on. Like I was struggling to find notes last semester to study from.
Like the material is like manageable, just the amount is massive.
Agreed. I also agree with that. And just a shout out to Zoya for the best notes.
Wow,
She's done amazing notes. Okay, she saved me this year.
I'm glad you appreciate them. I think like another really big problem though with like collecting resources and notes in 4th year is the fact that Hungary and other countries have different treatment policies, and now we're studying treatments, right? Yeah. And so like you look up like stuff on maybe AMBOSS and stuff, and it'll be correct technically, like it's correct. Yeah, you can use that treatment. But when you like tell the oral examiner this, you have the thing that he'll just like say like, yeah, that's correct, but that's not what we're gonna use. Yeah, and it's like sorry.
I remember when I had obstetrics and gynecology exam last semester, my mom was teaching me. And every time she'd be like, but this, like, she'd tell me the treatment, and she'd be like, but this is in the UAE. It's probably different in Hungary. Did they tell you anything? Yeah, she's a obs-gyn, and I try to remember as much as I can from the seminars and the practices, but it's just like, there's just so many different treatments. Yeah. And the thing is, like, the changes are very minuscule. Yeah. Like they'd be like plus minus 10 milligrams, or a different procedure, or the same instrument but a different name. Yeah. And I remember actually in my pulmonology exam, he asked me what was ventil pneumothorax. Yeah. And I told him, I was like, I'm sorry, I don't know what ventil pneumothorax is. Yeah. And it turns out to be tension pneumothorax. Oh. Which is something I do know. Yeah. So I went, and I didn't know this until after I left the exam, and my friend was like, ventil means tension, it's just ventils in Hungarian. And I was like, that's crazy. I feel like that's on the professor though, like, yeah, just said tension pneumothorax. He was very pissed that I didn't know what ventil pneumothorax is, and I'm just like, I don't know what to tell you, genuinely.
Well, since you already brought it up in the middle of our previous segment, we can talk about
Ramadan in uni. So, because it's Ramadan Kareem, everyone. And we want to talk with Mustafa about balancing classes and fasting,
which all 3 of us are doing at the moment.
Yeah, indeed. I can tell you that it's not easy. Yeah, especially in the very festive country that is Hungary. I don't blame the country for anything, by the way. Don't think I hate Hungary or anything. Yeah. It's not easy, I'm not gonna lie to you. It's a lot of adjustments had to be done to focus on both fasting and studying. Yeah. But one thing that I find
especially that they don't like minimize the school hours or anything.
Yeah, like for at least for me and Haneen, I'm not sure about you, Zoya.
No, I don't get it.
Okay, so in Ramadan back in the UAE, they usually used to like shorten the days, shorten the hours for school or work, for let's say from instead of 8 to 2, it would be 9 to 1. And it would just be much easier for everyone, students, teachers, workers, etc. Amazing. Yeah. But here they don't do that. And like, ironically enough, today is my longest day. I have an 8 to 8 today, 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. And I have a class. I have 2 classes actually that are during iftar time. And
we have farm at iftar time, don't we?
We have farm, and then I have P afterwards.
Oh, no!
It's not gonna be a cash money time today, but you have to eventually find a balance between your day and yourself. It takes a while, Like
Yeah. It
I've
takes discipline.
agreed. It does take discipline as well.
Like you have to put yourself asleep right
Mhm.
after iftar
Yeah.
and finishing prayers
Yeah.
and waking up for suhoor.
Yeah.
And you have to be okay with like smashing through your entire previous schedule. Like
Yes.
if you're
Exactly.
the worst part is like I feel like my previous schedule was working so well, but now I absolutely have to make like all these maladaptations.
Same. Last night, I came back home. I had my iftar, and then I just could not get up. Sorry, I just could not get up at all. I was just so tired, and I was like, I just want to sleep.
Yeah.
In Arabic we call it khumul. I don't know what khumul is in English. It's like
Post iftar nap.
basically same. But like I had to fight through, and I had to finish a lecture because I'm like, I usually can finish 45 lectures in a day, but like with
Yeah.
Ramadan, I can finish 2 to 3.
Your brain needs like sugar, glucose,
Yeah.
energy, whatever. It doesn't have that. So
Yeah.
studying during Ramadan is like the worst part. Like going to classes is fine. Like you might not be paying attention as well, but like I feel like you can do it.
Mhm.
The studying is the
Yeah.
tough part.
Exactly. Like I'm not gonna lie to you, the first week always the hardest
Mhm.
because like first of all you're trying to adjust your sleeping schedule, you're trying to adjust your mind and your body. Be like, oh, we're not gonna eat until 6, and the body takes a while for that. So
And, yeah.
go ahead.
But I was gonna say that as university students who live by ourselves and have like this like burden of like classes and studies and stuff, it's extra difficult because we're making our own study. Like we're making have to run on our own schedule. We have to like clean our houses as well. There's all these like responsibilities like behind the scenes as well that make this particularly tough.
I completely agreed. We're not pampered like we were back home.
Yeah, it was so easy to fast back.
Yeah, it's especially a struggle to wake up for suhoor or like to even make iftar because it's like, what can I make under 10 minutes? Because like the time is so constrained. It's like my days during Ramadan is just so stressful. It's like, okay, I have to wake up at 8, and then I have to by like 8:10 I have to brush my teeth, everything, and I need to get to university or whatever. And it's like I have to live
And
by
also
the minute.
praying on time.
Oh my god, and the praying on time, that is so stressful.
Yeah, I feel like the uni is making it useful by having some prayer rooms.
It does.
Or prayer places.
Yeah,
throughout campus, but it's still hard because some classes are like right behind each other.
Yeah, like there's 30 minutes minimum between 2 classes, sometimes 10 minutes.
Yeah.
And prayer takes up 15 minutes, and for you to get to the other class, 15 minutes. So like if there's any delay in your class, or if you have to do something after your class, your prayer is not gonna be able, like you won't be able to pray. And that's what I struggle with most.
Yeah, me as well.
Especially during Ramadan, it's just like, oh, I'm already tired. I'm hungry. I'm thirsty. I have classes. I have to study.
Yeah. And I have to pray on time.
Yeah.
But it honestly like is making me so grateful for like the food that I have at night because I'm like,
yeah, alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah.
Yeah.
I agree with that.
Like I think fasting outside the Middle East has helped all of us
be really appreciated.
Be really appreciated.
Really grateful of the food, of our parents,
of just
of
everything.
Just the culture, yeah.
Of religion as well.
Exactly.
It's very like as much as I complain about Ramadan, I still do love Ramadan because it's like the month where like everything I do feels, or like at least I feel, would get me closer to God. And it's just a very holy month, and like there's good vibes and energy around it. And with the university, I'm really grateful that there is a huge diaspora of Muslim people.
Yeah. And you can see it in IBDI, like the cafe there. Usually they're like on normal days they're out of chocolate croissant. Yesterday the chocolate croissant were like they were unsold. They were so much. I was just like, that's how uni depth is ruled by Muslim students.
Exactly.
There's a lot of Muslim students. But yeah, definitely like being at home, I would just take advantage of all the things that we would like. Everybody was awake at study time. Like there was a tabla wala outside, and you could hear him from like the window. Everybody's awake, and like there's food ready for you, and then like your mom or your dad or whoever is like sipping water with you throughout like iftar to suhoor, like study time. And like over here, you have to like remind yourself to do these things. You have to like make room for that within the studying and the like doing everything else.
Like I remember. I had Ramadan during my IGCSEs and AS levels, and it was just never this hard
Yeah.
as it is right now. It's just because, again, we were pampered
Structure.
back in high school. Yeah. I didn't have to worry about waking up and or at least waking myself up, making food or just being organized in general. I had something to worry about, and that was exams. But here, as you said earlier, we have so many duties and so many tasks to do other than fast and study, which makes it a little bit harder.
One of the reasons that I got to know Mustafa was because in second year you were like the most social person that I knew. You were like making friends with everybody, which I think like was a really great like. This is a very year representative thing to do. We'll get into like a little bit about the year representative position later, but I wanted to ask you. I was hoping you would talk about making friends as an international student because God knows you have the most experience.
Most experience is an overstatement. But I think making friends is actually my first friend I made in the university was not even during university times, not during like the first day of university. It was actually through Twitter.
Really?
I tweeted that, anybody going to the University of Debrecen, and
I remember that.
yeah. It was actually Haneen who was one of the people who noticed, and another girl, a random girl called Tafumi, shout out Tafumi, who texted me. She's like, "Yeah, I'm also going first year." And then later on, when we came into the university, turns out me and her were in the same group.
Oh my god!
So
Crazy.
It was such an insane experience for me, and I think most friendships start with the first day of university and your group.
But okay, and I noticed this is like the people that I was very, very close with in first year, I'm not so close with anymore. Like those first year university friends are very tight for a brief amount of time. Because at the time, like that's who you can find closest to you at any given point. Like you're the only person that like they're the only person you know, and so you just tend to stick with them. But then as time goes on, like you
realize that these are not like the right friendships for you, or like
or like you realize like
you have
like less in common than you have with other people.
I actually agree with that. Like I've been through many friend groups in the past 4 years. Solely because, some people unfortunately couldn't be with me at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
And that did hinder our friendship a lot. And obviously there's also, finding the right friend group and finding the right friends. But generally, the first set of friends that you're going to have should and will be your group mates, because you're going to see them from the crack of dawn until the sunset for most of the days, so you need to have good energies. You need to be in good terms with all of them, just because if you don't feel safe in that group of people, that's going to ruin your university experience.
Yeah, you don't feel like, because like if you're like not particularly interested in your group, even if you're like totally apathetic towards them, even if you're like you just don't have any friends in your group, like I feel like coming to class must be that much harder. And I say must be because our group is actually so nice, and like I like get out in the morning, I'm like, oh good, at least I'm gonna see like Haneen and Mustafa today.
Agreed. Yeah, like I also like I moved groups halfway through my educational years, just because the previous group, it was so hard to go to classes. I was never motivated. I never enjoyed being in class. And then I moved to group 9 where Zoya and Haneen are. And at the beginning, I had the same tendencies I had in my previous group. But then later I realized, wait, I actually like the group. My motivation to attend classes and to focus in classes increased. My motivation to even go to classes to begin with, as Zoya said, also increased. University became less dull. Knowing that when you're going to go to university, you're going to go to a group of people who you're comfortable with, who can, have small talk, but, not feel like uncomfortable. Agree.
They care about you, even if you're like absent. Like there are people that will ask, where are you?
Exactly.
I actually love that. Like I love that there's whenever someone's absent, everyone's like, okay, I'm texting that person. Where are you?
I didn't come to a class yesterday, and then I had like 3 text messages like, where are you? Should we do anything for you? Do you need anything? I'm like, yeah, I'm just not coming. And it's so adorable and so cute. And
shout out to Group 9.
Yeah,
we love you
guys.
guys.
Love you, Group 9.
A lot of them are probably listening, actually. Quite a few of them do listen. But one of the things I really like about this group is that they're very social, and they, like, over time have gotten rid of that tendency that we all had in early years and that we generally do have, which is sticking with people from our own country and people that we are sort of familiar with. So, like, when I started university, I noticed that all of the Taiwanese students, Japanese students, the Arab students, the Pakistani students, the Indian students, the Nigerian students, like, everybody would just like stick together in their like groups of like 2, 3, 4, like whoever is in the class with you, and whichever person is like from your country, you just stick with them.
The thing is that you can still see this tendency.
Yeah, 100%.
But in a smaller percentage.
Yeah.
I think what makes Group 9 makes it amazing is that we're all friends. Like, we can all just, speak to each other, and after class we'd be like, oh, we're bored, and somebody would be like, oh, do you want to go somewhere? No matter who they are, they're still a friend, and vice versa. And obviously outside university as well, same thing happens, which is really nice.
Yeah.
And I think with such a multicultural and, cosmopolitan, in quotations, university, you slowly tend to realize that, okay, like, these are people who are, human beings. They're the only thing that separates us are like skin color, nationality, culture, But it's so nice to learn about other cultures and to learn about what other people do, different names, different, holidays and stuff. It's really interesting.
Different habits.
I love finding out like which words we share in Urdu and Turkish and in Arabic.
Yeah,
like that's the funny like one of my favorite things is like when like Edu was speaking in Turkish or you guys are speaking in Arabic, and I'm like, I know that word, Kursi.
It's
which, by the way, for non-Arabic and Urdu speakers is chair.
Yeah.
But also, like, what was I gonna say? I was gonna say that I definitely have noticed that although this tendency has decreased a lot, it's still very much there. People do tend to be a little bit hesitant to talk to like people from different countries, people from different nationalities. Like, they're like tend to want to stick into their own group because it's just easier to understand that person.
Also the language barriers, maybe.
Yeah, there's also like some language barriers sometimes. Like, someone feels like their English isn't that good, so they don't like interact with their students as much. But I will say this, like all it takes to make a new friend is like, I think like to make a new friend or to know if someone is going to be your friend is like 1 to 2 conversations. Actually, maybe like 2 to 3 conversations. All you have to do is start that conversation, and just like every chance you get, just like start the first conversation, the second, the third, and guarantee you by the end of the 3rd conversation, you're going to know whether you're going to be friends with this person or not. Like, whether that's a possibility, whether you're compatible that way. Like, all you have to do is start the conversation. Do not be afraid.
I completely agree. Bro, going back to one of the first statements you said, that, how we became friends, that I just walked up to you and just had a conversation with you. And one thing about this university is that, if you're friends with someone, they're bound to be friends with another person. So everybody knows each other, kind of. And, you're going to see, even if you don't know the person, you can just have a little conversation with you. Sorry.
Dropping the mic drop.
Like, most of the time, at least recently, my friendships have been, oh, do you have a charger? Like, I'd walk up to a random person and be like, can I please use your charger or something? And then I keep on seeing them multiple times in the next week. And that's how friendships start, as you said, It takes a simple question, a simple conversation, a simple favor to make friends.
Also, something to put in mind with like making friends. Like, when you make a friend, you're not expecting to find your twin, someone that thinks the exact same thing that you do. And I think you have to keep an open mind about that. Like, you're getting to know this person with all his like good habits and his bad habits, and you have to accept both of them.
Yeah.
You'll never find your exact same halal haram ratio. It's a myth. It's a myth, guys.
I completely agree. I completely agree, because like, I've been through a lot of friendships, as I said, and it's only solely because like in high school I did not have many friends, and now I'm just trying to see which friend groups I'm comfortable with, and I'm slowly tending to realize who my qualities and friends are. So like, don't be fazed by the fact that I said I had many friends throughout the first 4 years, just because I personally didn't know who I was. And this university also, is a journey to figure out who you are as well. So that's another thing about friends.
I feel like when I came to this uni, I struggled with making friends because I was always looking for someone that had like same like halal haram ratio, the same thoughts, and I never found that. And then I would be like pretty upset about how I don't have many friends. But when I became more open minded about it, I'm like, people are different. They come from different places. You're never gonna find your twin. You're just gonna have to find a friend. I feel like that helped me a lot. I started making more friends. I started talking more to people.
Yeah, I think
It
this
just really helped me.
it does help, and especially like you will have to set up boundaries.
Yeah.
It's like you will never find a friend that is, like as you said, a twin, but it's very important to set up your own boundaries because you don't want somebody to step all over you or disrespect you, and that's how healthy friendships are formed.
Yeah, and that's how you know if that person will be your friend or not your friend.
Agreed.
But another thing that I want to add is like, as somebody who was incredibly reclusive in first year, like I had like
So
maybe
true.
2 friends. Any social interaction that you have with somebody is valuable. Like I'm not kidding. Like any hello that you say, any like goodbye that you say, there's value in that. It's good to have. It's good for your soul to like have
Completely
a
agreed.
like a very banal conversation with somebody. To be like, oh, like this desk sucks, and the person is like, yeah, it's like the worst. Like even that is like good for your heart and soul, and your like, especially if you're like not somebody who speaks to a lot of people, not somebody who makes a lot of friends. Like every social interaction matters, and like every friend that you make, even if it's someone that you just talk to about like one subject in university, like if you have like a friend that you just talk to one subject about in university, if you have a friend you only talk about home stuff to, if you have a friend you like only ever talk to when you see them in like class, like all of those bonds are valuable. They're all like contributing to your heart and soul, and they're all contributing to the other person's heart and soul as well.
I completely agree. Like you couldn't have said it clearer or better. And especially the fact that in this university you will have to ask for a lot of favors. So it's always nice to have a wide, diverse, friend group. Or
it's
friends in
okay
general.
to ask for favors.
Yes,
you have those
please.
connections for a reason.
Yeah.
Exactly. It is okay to ask for things. It's okay to ask for notes. It's okay to ask for, anything, because this is what university life is. If you go, if you ask your parents, they will tell you, yeah, we used to have friends, we used to have colleagues, we used to have people we had connections with, we used to give us stuff and stuff. So please, when we tell you make friendships for the sake of, A, friendships, and B, connections, it's quite important.
And also, all the people out there who are stingy with their notes, what are you doing? Like, there's no reason to be stingy with your notes.
Because, why did I get my pulmonology notes 2 days before my pulmonology exam? Where were you in the beginning of the semester when I kept asking on a weekly basis, do we have pulmonology notes?
Yeah.
Shame on all of you.
As we mentioned before, Mustafa is the year rep of class of 2026. So Mustafa, what is it like being a year rep, and what are the challenges that come with that? And what is exactly a year rep?
Let's start with your final question, actually.
Yeah.
A year rep is a year representative. It's a person who obviously is going to represent the year. If there's any issues, the department can come to one person instead of all 200 of us. So it's just like the gateway between professors and the student, and vice versa, obviously.
That must be very stressful.
It's not as stressful as most people think it is. It's just a little bit annoying.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have no affiliation with ISU, right?
No.
Okay.
Shout out to ISU though. They are my bosses. The year rep, as I said, it's quite annoying just because sometimes, people come up to me and ask me questions and I'm just like, I genuinely don't know, because like they're out of the blue questions, out of the box, and people need to know that I'm just a human, I'm just a student. I'm not going to be able to know everything, and I think that should be okay. just because, I'm not ISU, as you said. Thank you for mentioning that,
I always got confused about that.
No, that's completely fair. I thought in the beginning that it was affiliated with ISU, but no, ISU just, mediates like the casting and everything. But no, they're my bosses. If I have any questions, I go to them. And if anybody asks me a question that I don't know, I go to ISU and be like, hey, please help. Don't put me in a bad spot here. But no, it's generally, I really like it just because it's been much more like it has very an intimate feel the entire year, because like we're almost 180 students, and it feels like I know most of the students. I know most of their issues, most of their problems, most of who they are.
That's actually so nice.
Yeah, that also is one of the many reasons I have, in quotations, many friends. Yeah.
I actually think you've been doing a really good job.
Thank you. I don't know if other people agree,
Really?
but hopefully I am doing a good job.
How long have you been year rep?
3 years, and hopefully counting, inshallah counting. Yeah. The biggest challenge about being a year rep is the students, not the professors.
Yeah.
Because I think after first year, I realized that the professors have they're very limited on what they can and can't do. It was only until I became year rep where I understood the dynamics of authority. Because I can't do something unless I tell ISU about it. ISU can't do something unless they tell a professor about it. A professor can't do something about it if the head of department, dean, like there's so many things that contribute to a decision. And what many students lack the knowledge of is that they lack the hierarchy of power.
Yeah.
And many
they sort of assume you can make changes.
Yes. I can try my best to make changes. I can always ask, of course, but just know that in the long run, just think about it more thoroughly. Just it's not gonna happen most of the time. Like most of the requests I'm asking about is like somebody would come up to me, be like, please, can you add an exam date after exam period and after extension week? And I'm just like, huh? Do you think I'm capable of doing that? And sometimes like the departments send a specific email, we're not adding any more seats.
Right.
So that's, the department sends that. So when people come up to be like, can you please ask them to add more seats? And I'm just like,
they literally say,
I can't. I'm sorry. Yeah. And they'll get mad at me, like, why can't you just try? Because I'm just like, because they'll yell at me, and I don't like when people yell at me. I've had so many professors yell at me and like be so rude to me on emails, But like you just have to swallow your pride and just take it in, because that's who you should be. And same thing goes with students,
I mean, they should really okay, we've been asking you many stupid questions. I get it, but you don't have to be so rude.
Who, the students or me?
The professors. If they're actually like yelling at you in emails.
I mean, I don't mind. It's okay. Like the first time I got yelled at was second year.
Was it anatomy?
No,
Ooh.
It was biochem. It was my mistake. I sent a very rude email. And I didn't realize it was a very rude email until I reread it. And then the professor in the lecture, he called me out for it. I was just like, hee hee.
Oh, no.
So that was my first time getting yelled at. But thankfully, everything was fine afterwards. I went and I apologized, even though I think I shouldn't. Actually, no, I'm sorry. I do need to apologize for that. Yeah. But it's
dicey. It's like you're like on one hand you're handling the demands of like 200 plus students, and they kind of expect you to like agree with everything, but you also are not like you're the representative of those 200 students, but it's not like you know exactly how they're feeling and what they're going to say and do. Like what they want from the what they want from the biochem department or the physio department, and what the biochem and physio departments are willing to give. Like that's a definitely. Yeah,
it is. It's like I completely agree. Like my one thing about being a year up is that I'll always ask, even though if I know the answer, I'll always ask and send the email reply just for them to, for the sake of the students, because I do get when the students ask questions or ask for requests. I do understand that they want a glimmer of hope, and I will gladly give it to them. But sometimes when I give them the answer, they get mad at me, and I'm just like, I'm sorry, but like that's all I can do.
Yeah.
You can't kill the messenger, guys.
Yeah, like I'm so sorry, and they just see it as, oh, this person is not cooperating with me. And I'm just like, no, the only reason I'm not cooperating is because I know better than you. You can think whatever you want to think. It's fine.
Yeah.
But
you've actually had first-hand dealings with the department.
yeah.
And you need to understand that you have actually done whatever you can to ask for that
Yeah.
request, and
Yes.
that answer is the final answer.
Exactly. And most students even take it in their own hands after I've emailed the professors and departments to email them again and beg for their mercy or something like that. And what that does is just makes the professors and the department angrier, because they'd be like, "Where's the year rep? Why isn't the year rep handling this?" When I've gotten those emails like sometimes, many times actually. I'm just like, I'm sorry, but like I'm not able to go and tell a person off, like one person out of 200. Like, why did you email the professor even though I gave you a verdict? You know.
Crazy.
Yeah, there's many crazy stories about being year rep actually, but
is there anything you like about it? I feel like you've talked a lot about like so many problems.
Yeah.
I like the problems.
Yeah.
Not gonna lie to you, they make my life exciting. Because like when you sit down with your friends and be like, oh, can you imagine what this person did to me today? But no, I generally do like being year rep. Again, the intimacy is really nice with not only the students but with the professors, and just having the authority to be the gateway between you and the students is really nice.
And the like sort of like you get to know everybody. You can
Great,
tell like what someone is or isn't willing to give you. You know which person's like nice. And,
yes.
Like, accommodating.
Yeah. Exactly.
Did you yell at a professor as well once?
Me yell? I've never yelled at a professor.
No, but like, not by accident.
Oh my god, yes. Okay, story time. Okay, so I woke up late. It was a Friday morning. I had a class at 8 and I woke up at like 8:10. I texted Zoya. I was like, I am coming. Please, if the professor asks for me, I'm on my way. And Zoya was like, yes, the professor did ask for you. And I'm just like, okay, tell him I'm on the way. Traffic. Quotations. Traffic.
And you zoomed over.
And I like within 10 minutes I was there. And then I go to the professor afterwards and I apologize. And he's like, I don't care. Your apology, whatever, etc., etc. He was basically rude about it. Yeah. I told him, like, I'm so sorry I overslept. My alarm wasn't on, etc. Traffic. Quotations, traffic. And he was just very rude about it. He was like, you just wanted to attend here because of the bonus points, etc. And I was just like, well, maybe, yeah. But like, I still do attend some lectures when there are, important public speakers, lecturers, etc. It was just unfortunately that day that I overslept.
Yeah.
And then I left, obviously pissed, and I get into the car and I receive a phone call and it doesn't say the number.
And it was on like I was in the car, like I remember. Yeah. It was on Bluetooth, right?
It was on Bluetooth. Like, yeah. It was on the car's Bluetooth, so I couldn't see the name. So I just thought it was like one of my friends, because I have a bunch of friends who asked me for favors that day. So I thought it was them. So I just answered the phone and I just yell. I was like, "Who is this? What do you want?" And then with the lowest pitch sound, and like when you yell at somebody and that person feels really bad, the person will be like, "Hey, I'm sorry. I'm the head of department, the pharmacology professor. I just wanted to tell you." I like you can feel like you can feel like as if you're steering up. And then I just pause for a second. I look at Zoya and I'm just like, oh, holy shit. I just 2 professors in one day. And then we had a lecture right after that, so I had to go and see the professor. And the entire lecture, I was sat right in the front. I was attentive and made sure that I gave him all my attention, because I'm just like, I'm really sorry for any experience that has caused your distress. And then I went and I apologized afterwards, and everything was fine, thankfully. But like that memory still haunts me, because that semester I had an exam with him,
Oh,
and they told me the day before, like, "Oh, this is your examiner." And I'm just like, "Oh no, I'm probably gonna fail." Not because I don't know, it's because I yelled at him in the beginning of the semester. But thank God he did not remember who I am. So
for our next segment, I want to talk a little bit about on Monday, and like this is our new week 6 to 10 schedule in fourth year. On Monday, we started our first lecture of behavioral medicine, which had brought up some really great points that I was hoping to discuss with you guys. So she talked a lot, like our professor, she talked a lot about the mental health and like issues, basically the issues overall that medical students face. Like the slide itself was about sleep deprivation, and it was a place in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, like a university had done like this massive meta-analysis of medical student sleep, and they were like, it's like way less than average, like overall across the board for about over 50,000 students that they like tabulated the data of. And she was like, "Oh, why do you think that is?" And then she pulled up a slide. I would like pull it up on my phone, but I can't right now. But she pulled up a slide, and it had on one side like university reasons, and on the other side like student reasons. And I feel like when I was looking at that slide, I realized like, you know, becoming a medical student is a big like step, and you often don't think about the consequences, not just for your personal life, but for like your mental health and like your like you think about maybe for your social life, your academic life, but you don't usually think about like personal, like how is this going to affect me, my mental health. So yeah, we're getting into the mental health topic. Any thoughts, guys?
lots actually.
Many thoughts had full.
It's a very sensitive topic to talk about, especially in this university, because I feel like in high school it was more like mental health was much more outspoken than it is in university.
I feel like that's general to university culture.
I agree with that actually. I think when people get older, they realize that okay, mental health is real, etc. But I don't want to bore some other person with my mental health issues, which is understandable. I get it, but at the same time, you know, if you are not feeling well, please don't stay quiet. Don't let it, simmer in your mind. Thankfully, the university does offer free therapy sessions, 5, I think, and it does help. Like I do go to these therapy sessions, and they do help. And obviously, friends are also a very important aspect as well. I think a lot of us here confined with our friends, especially with our
especially that we're away
issues.
from home,
Hmm.
away from family.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Like I think one of the most difficult things to identify is like why exactly are you feeling that? Like if you're homesick, if the studies are getting to you, if you're not enjoying things as much as you used to, like
I completely agree with that. Actually,
talk to
it's
someone, figure it out.
I agree. It's like the minute you come here, especially as a medical student, you have a lot of stress, a lot of worry. A lot of us came from our parents' houses, and we're just pampered. We have everything done for us, so we have very little experience in the world, very little stress. But once you come here, it's like whoops, you've been slapped on your bottom, and you're doing everything on your own, and you're stressing out about exams, stressing out about your life, stressing about financial decisions, stressing out about if I have a social life, stressing.
Stressing about finishing stuff for time, like stuff on time,
Yeah.
doing your exams.
And like just stressing about not being close to your family, etc. There's a lot of things that go on.
Yeah, especially when you see these events back home happening and you're not
Yes,
participating in them.
yes, so true. Like I've thought at my house, my siblings are there, and my mom and my dad. I'm just like, I wish I was there. I'm the only sibling that's missing.
Yeah.
Yeah. But generally speaking, like this will accumulate as years go on. And one of my regrets that I have actually is that I did not speak to anyone about it. I just let it, in the back of my head until it got quite bad. Like, in like during third and fourth year, that's when I was like, yeah, I need to go to therapy and start yapping out my issues. But sometimes, especially with this university, all you have to do is just talk to someone, clear your mind, and that could help, not just by little, that could help a lot, because sometimes, if not often, and almost always, the best remedy to stop being homesick or to stop stressing or stop being anxious is just going to your friend and be like, hey, I'm going through something, can you just be there, listen to me, listen to what my thoughts are saying, just so I can rationalize them and think about them from an outside perspective instead of an inside perspective.
I read this lovely article a long time ago, actually, but it had this line that stuck with me. This woman was like talking about how in her study, when she was living in London, in her study, all of these problems in her head would seem so like enormous. They would seem like completely like unfixable obstacles. But then she went out to dinner with her friend, and they were like eating off the same plate, with their forks, and she was telling her friend everything. And under the gentle scrutiny of her friend, all of her worries just started to seem like the meeting. I fully dropped the mic. Yeah, but that's basically what I said. Is it okay? Sorry. But yeah, talking to your friends actually does make you feel better. Shocking news, by the way.
Very shocking news. And please don't ever be shy to talk to your friends about it, especially if it's something really serious.
Yeah, and if they're truly your friends, they're not gonna judge you. They're not gonna make you feel bad about it.
And I have so many friends where I wish and I hope they could come to me and just talk to me about their issues, because you can see it in their eyes, you can see it in how they react, that they are feeling not so well right now. And sometimes even just talking about it, even if it makes you feel better for like 10 minutes, that's still better than nothing.
And when you feel better, you do better in general.
Agreed. And getting better mentally, physically, or anything really, even studying, it's not linear. You're just gonna have ups and downs, ups and downs, ups and downs, and that's completely fine.
I read something before that happiness is not a destination, it's a journey.
Agreed.
And I love that quote.
I completely agree with that.
I think the number one thing that you have to do is just find one thing to be happy about in a day, however minuscule it might be. And on the topic of mental health as well, so the university does offer mental health support. Debrecen is thankfully quite a bit if you want to get medications or whatever, it's not that difficult, relatively speaking. Although you do need a referral. You do need to go to a GP and get a referral and then get a prescription. Once you think about it a little bit, once you've you usually know, you figure out what the problem is, right? And whatever it is, whether it's family problems or friend problems or romance problems, or you have you've realized that you don't actually like doing this anymore, knowing is always it's always a good thing. Knowing is the first step to doing something about it.
I completely agree with that, actually. And going back to what you said about, if you even want to do medicine, it's a very tough decision.
Yes,
I know many students who came and then realized they didn't want to do medicine, and they just, hopped on to the next major, and they're much happier now. And it's a very tough thing to do, to put yourself through the commitment to being a medical student, because it's not just medical school, it's not just the exams, it's your life. This is who you are going to be from now on. Are you ready to
give up your youth?
No, not give up your youth. I don't know about you, but I'm having one time of my life.
Somebody said this to me the other day. They were like, "I'm giving up my youth for medical school."
I mean,
it's a long life commitment, but you're gonna enjoy it. You're gonna live your youth, you guys.
Yeah, it's an investment. The thing is, it's people look at us and be like, "You are not living your youth," and I'm just like, "Do you know me? My youth is studying with my friends. How youthful can that be? Crying with my friends."
And there's always time to do extracurriculars as well. If you really want to, you will have time, and there is time.
I promise you, there is time. You're especially in this university, it's only the first 2 years where you have to dedicate yourself mostly to your studies. But then afterwards, it gets much easier. You can generally start, having a very nice
weekend trips to Vienna.
Yeah, weekend trips to Vienna, or having, just chill days or whatever. and that's fair for every other
Mhm.
job and occupation there is. Because like if you want the same level of success as somebody else, you obviously have to do the same level of work they're doing.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So
Even like business majors, like if they want to have like a very successful business, they have to work every single day. They have to work so hard. They like in order to be successful.
agreed. Like yeah,
So in both ways, we're like in whether we go for business, whether we go for medicine, we're all doing the same exact effort if we want to be like have a certain
level of
level of living.
yeah. I completely agree with that.
Like,
And-
it is a commitment. Just know that, of course, like it is a bigger commitment sometimes than other people make. Like being a medical student, mostly because you're giving I don't know, you're giving yourself you're putting yourself under a lot of pressure. You're putting yourself into one of the student populations that has like the highest rates of suicide and highest rates of like mental health, mental illness, and stuff. And it's it's a very high pressure job and career,
Yeah.
but you can
like-
do it if you manage your time well, and if you remember that like at the end of the day, your heart and soul are like the most important thing. Like they need to be like fed.
That's
I
why
know.
I also think mental health is important.
Yeah.
Because like those suicide rates that you're talking about are high because most medical students, they just care about studying, about finishing their exams. They don't care
Grades.
about their their hobbies, their lifestyle. They don't
They
care about
let go about this
they,
stuff when they come into medical school.
exactly.
They let go of the things they used to love, like the hobbies and the friends and stuff. Like,
and it doesn't have to be like that, by the way.
Yeah.
Like,
doesn't have to be like that.
I don't know. My life before university was dull. When I came to university, that's when my life actually started.
Yeah, I relate to that.
Yeah. I used to think I used to have a very social life, and I used to go out go out a lot, and but then I came to university, and that's when things changed. At the beginning, I was like, "Ugh, I'm not having the same life as I am having in high school." But then I realized high school's in the past. This is my future. I can do whatever I want with it.
Yeah, very true. Very
Yeah.
true. Sheesh. I also realized there's things that I let go of when I came to university that I stopped reading. And I used to read a lot before I came to university. I used to buy a lot of books and read a lot. And I stopped doing that when I came to university because my first priority was studying, and my second priority was figuring my life out here and stuff. And I'm gonna be honest, when I started reading again in third year and buying books again from bookstores here, it made a world of difference. I don't know, I just felt better. I just felt better. I don't know how to describe it. Now I read one book a week or one book every 2 weeks, and I think I'm just I don't know, it's nice to have something that isn't
Medicine.
it's nice to remember that there is more in the world. It's nice to be reminded of other people's experiences. It's nice to I don't know, have something to look forward to. Don't forget your hobbies, your interests, whatever.
I completely agree with that. And just the thing is, one way or another, you're going to have to figure out your life. And your hobbies are going to be your last priority. Your first priority is going to be taking care of yourself, etc., finding who you are. So medical student or not, you're going to go through this, and just know you're going to come out of it as a better person, as the best version as you are. And especially in this university, every day you're becoming the better version of yourself because you will be challenged in ways that you never expected. And it's honestly with all the pain that you will endure, you will look back onto it and be like, there's a lot of change, positive change that I'm very proud of. If you talk to Hani and Zoya or any other student really, 4th, 5th, 6th year graduated, they'll tell you, was the University of Debrecen a good choice? I think yes. Just because look at the personality changes that has happened, or look at the general positive changes. There's always net positive change whenever a university student graduates compared to a high school student.
Especially after all the pain, after all the hard work that we've been through, it just makes us stronger.
I
and
agree.
Even if our mental health gets damaged, I feel there's always a way to fix it somehow.
I completely agree. And again, University of Debrecen offers therapy sessions and you have access to all kinds of psychological help. And medicine is not an easy major, and it's going to
So like, be sure, guys. Like,
yeah, like you need to be sure, but it's okay if halfway through or like in the first few years you realize it's not for you. Just because, as much as we can warn you, you have to go and experience it for yourself, and see if you are capable of handling all this for the rest of your life. It's like,
So, before closing up, we would like to ask you just a few more questions. Did you always want to be a doctor?
yes and no. Um, uh, sorry. In middle school, I wanted to be an engineer just because I was good at maths, and then those dreams shattered in 8th grade when I got a 50% on my math test, and I was like, never mind. And then I had either two options: become a doctor or be a pilot. And I am very into airplanes, aviation, anything that makes things fly. I am interested in it. So I was very interested in being a pilot or anything related to aviation, really. And my parents know that. But unfortunately, my mind was not made up to be a physicist slash mathematician. So aviation was out of um, you know, the pool of choices. So medicine was another good option. Medicine is not my first choice, but it is the most like reasonable choice. I was good in biology, I was good in chemistry. Like everything made sense for me to become a doctor. So I was just like, then yeah, that's my choice. Not my first one, but still my choice. Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
And what do you wish you had known before coming to Debrecen?
I don't know. I feel like the mystery of going into Debrecen was the best thing about Debrecen.
Yeah, I agree.
Like going in blind was an experience like no other. Even though I had some like advice from my sisters, still I was still going through first, second, third, fourth, fifth, etc., and like social life and etc. all alone. And I feel like that's really good because that builds up character and that builds up who you are, and it builds. At the end, you're just gonna look at yourself and be like, "This is who I am." It instills your personality. It instills who you are as a person. It instills that I am Mustafa, I am Hanin, I am Zoya.
Yeah.
It was really nice. But I also did wish I knew that, fourth year was not as chill as people make it out to be, Because, like, they tell you the first 3 years are the hardest, and they'd be like, oh, fourth, fifth, sixth year, a joke. And I'm just like, I'm in fourth year. I am struggling. I am crying. I am in tears. I am stressed. And not as stressed as first, second, third year. Okay, I get it. It's not hard. But, like, still, there's just so much going on in fourth year. And I hope people stop saying that fourth year is easy because there's so much going on fourth year. It's easy, but there's just so much happening.
My philosophy for fourth year is that if you give, sorry, I can't say this because I wouldn't be swearing, but if you care too much, it's gonna be a problem. Like I'm gonna be dead serious. Like if you care too much, it's gonna be even more stressful. If on some level you DGF, it's actually gonna be easier.
So true. Because like last semester, I remember I was like, "Oh, I'm not gonna do GAF," and then exam period came, and then I remember my pharmacology exam. Okay, great, that was fine. And then when it came to my traumatology exam, I was like, "Whatever, the shortest notes I'm gonna do, that's it." And then the day before my exam, I was like, "What? It's not enough." And then I just did the entire lecture slides. Literally 12 hours before my exam, I opened up all the lecture slides. I looked through all of them. I studied them, and that just kept going on for the next few exams. And I'm just like, why did I do this to myself? I still have the mentality of first, second, third year of having to know everything. And, like the fear of being like, what if they ask me a question?
What if they ask me that?
Yeah.
And like you feel like, oh my god, maybe I should go into the physiology of this. Maybe I should look into treatments and stuff.
Exactly.
By the way, like they don't actually want you to know all that much because they just assume that you would know it because you studied it, right?
So true.
Like they would, like when you do your rotations and stuff, it's gonna be like way more set in your mind. Like 100% in fourth year, like you do not have to know every little detail.
But the thing is,
for the exam.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. It's just I'm still working on it.
Yeah,
I'm
breaking out of
trying-
that mindset
that
of like
mindset,
perfectionism. Like,
yeah.
oh, I need to know every single treatment aspect. Like,
It's like I'm studying for my nuclear exam right now. I'm just like, I'm gonna memorize the teeniest, tiniest of detail, just in case they ever ask me this question in the exam. And it's
even
like,
though you don't know about
I know for a fact they're not gonna ask me because it's just like it's literally a protocol. You know, most protocols are written down on a paper for you to read before doing the surgery or doing the
Yeah.
thing. You know, why am I
And
why
I
am I
feel
memorizing?
like the
I don't know.
doctors, they know that we're gonna do that because of like what we've been through. They know that this is our mindset. They know that this is how much we're gonna study, and that's why
Yeah.
they go like not easy, but kind of easy on us when it comes to the
Yeah,
exams.
Really?
Like especially the orals, like fourth year orals, they're like
Joke.
yeah, exactly. They're like way easier than like
Yeah, like
first 3 years.
I go into that exam and I just start yapping, and they're just like, "Stop
Okay.
yapping, please." You know,
like as long as you can prove that you know
something.
some of what you're talking
Something,
about.
yeah.
Like you don't like you're not coming into this exam like having learned nothing. Like as long as you like
Yeah,
say like enough about your topic, they're like, okay, that's sufficient. Like you're gonna be fine. Like
Yeah.
even if you don't become like if you become a pulmonologist, like you're gonna learn more about this. If you don't, like this is enough. You know.
I completely agree. It's also they want to see if you understand the topic more than you have memorized the topic. Because like let's say I'm talking about this topic, but I completely memorized it. They will know by the way you talk about the topic.
Yeah.
But then if you go into the exam just understanding the topic and basically explaining what you understood, they will think much more highly of you because you
Yeah.
understood everything about it. And that just shows that you know everything.
Yeah, and every department has its own priority. So like every
Mhm.
department, like traumatology, for example, you mentioned, like orthopedic, I'm sure, and like all these departments, they want their students to know something specific, and like you're gonna figure that out with that department. It's not the same for every department. Like Ruma, for example, is not a fourth year subject, but they cared quite a bit about treatment.
Yeah.
Right? Like they didn't care so much about the pathology of diseases because they assumed you would have learned that in pathology. Right?
Mhm.
And so like things like that, like every department wants something different from their students as like because they like these are specializations. Like there's a limit to like what they want you to know for like future purposes or whatever. But you're gonna be fine, whatever.
Yeah, and not to mention that what we're studying right now in fourth and in the future fifth year, just the basics. From there, we're gonna start layering on more information.
We're gonna start choosing our specialties.
Exactly. Yeah, and starting to learn the details. Like when I was doing my obstetrics and gynecology exam, I was talking to my mom, and she was like, "These are just basics. You should add more information." I'm just like, "Mom, please
It's gonna be easier, probably,
stop."
right?
No, the same exact.
This year we have the
Same exact
topic list.
Yeah, same exact topic list. They expect you to say the same exact things you said
But
in your
4
exam.
topics, you pull out 4 topics.
So you only
instead
need
of
to
2.
know in detail if you're actual
Yeah.
Ah,
Like when I go to my mom and show her the notes, and she's like, "These are literally just basics," And that's when I realized that what we're studying are the basics. So just understand, and then later on, if you're going to specialize in that thing, you're slowly going to learn doses, the treatments, the procedures, etc. Even in surgery, by the way,
yeah.
the most what is it called, subject that I think that we're just literally learning nothing in is surgery, because they just teach you
Everything is hands-on.
Yeah, exactly. You can't really study surgery. You can only study the reasons of surgeries or the names of surgeries, but you can't really learn the procedures orally. You have to put your hands into a person and be like, "I'm doing surgery." So, yeah.
All right, last question. What would you like us to talk about in the future? And do you have any questions for us?
I hope that you talk more about friendships and boundaries and rumors.
Okay.
I think the social life in Debrecen, that would be a very interesting topic.
Are you inviting? Are you hinting at us to invite you back?
Yes. I have so much to say. Names are gonna be dropped. Boots are gonna be shaken off.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's okay. But thank you so much for having me.
Of course. Thank you
Thank you so much
coming.
for showing up.
This has been a really, really nice experience, and I hope
we've just been
anybody
vibing, chatting. I don't even remember.
Yeah, same. It's just yap session.
Okay.
Bunch of friends doing
Anything
bunch
you
of
wanna
friends
ask us
thing.
now?
No, thank you so much. I hope you guys have a good day.
Thank you so much for tuning in to our second episode, and a huge thank you to Mustafa for being a part of our podcast.
Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it.
All right. Please follow us on Instagram for further updates, as well as announcements and goals about what we're going to be doing next, what we're going to be talking about next. And remember, you can find us on Spotify, you can find us on Apple Podcasts, and you can find us on YouTube. So please reach out to your friends, let them know that we're running a humble podcast out here, and we would really love your support. Thank you.
Yes, don't forget to follow and like the episode if you liked it.
Thank you.